Well, Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs recently vetoed Senate Bill 1109, which was a measure designed to prohibit the Chinese government and its state-owned enterprises from acquiring a 30% or greater interest in Arizona real estate. The bill was a safeguard for critical infrastructure, including military installations like the Luke Air Force Base, from potential foreign espionage. The Arizona legislature, controlled by Republicans, did pass this. The governor just used it her own accord and said, actually, no, not going to let this one through, even though elected representatives have voted it through. Governor Hobbs says that this was not effective at counter-espionage. She says it lacked clear implementation criteria, which could lead to arbitrary enforcement. Here to discuss this is Arizona State Senator Wendy Rogers. She's a currently serving senator and a former Air Force pilot. Thank you for joining us, Senator. Can you explain to us what this rationale is? Why would it possibly be ineffective? You voted it through.
Absolutely. Great. Thanks for having me on. This is one of many bills that she has vetoed. We call her the veto queen. She's vetoed upwards of 200 plus bills. Maybe the number is approaching 300. And what strikes me as very implausible in her explanation is that she says it doesn't help. Well, prevention is part of the cure. You know, 1 ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. We don't want to have these CCP-controlled plots of land to be enforced and then have to do something about it. We want to prevent it.
Yeah, I was just agreeing with you. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I mean, that's what this is about, right? To be preventative here. Oh, then we find out, I mean, we just found out that America's solar panel infrastructure has hidden remote shutoff mechanisms from the Chinese government in American solar panels. Like, this is not conspiracy talk. And then, you know, people say, oh, you're a xenophobe. Why do you hate China, Senator? No, we're trying to take care of the United States of America. Why does the Chinese government need to be purchasing property right next to American military bases? What's the purpose? What are they telling us that they need this for?
Well, the Chinese Communist Party would love nothing more than to prevail without a shot fired. And anybody who has studied their MO knows this. And so even when the bill legislation says 30% owned, really anything that someone from China does has to have the stamp of approval of the CCP. So that even in and of itself, 30% is a optimistic sort of cutoff. No matter what it is, they're going to have a hand in it. And so we not only have Luke Air Force Base, we have the Yuma Proving Ground, we have the Goldwater bombing range. We have Fort Huachuca, which is the Army's intelligence training center in southern Arizona. We have a training area up in northern Arizona in my district. We have military installations all over the state. And this is just one of many examples where stolen elections have consequences. And we have this governor who is completely averse to anything the legislature is trying to do. And yes, we have a majority in the legislature, but it is not 2/3. And we have 17 Republicans in the Arizona Senate of 30. So we have a 2-vote majority. And I believe we have a 2-vote majority in the House, the state House, which has 60 members. And this is a new bit of news that I received this morning from our Senate President, Warren Peterson, who's running for state attorney general, thank goodness. We will be having a vote to override her veto in the Arizona Senate in a couple of weeks.
Now, something that liberals always say when they see bills that seem extremely common sense, but they don't want to pass them through, especially when it comes to perverts. That's their favorite. Is, yes, we're not for perverts, but this is not an effective bill because it won't actually accomplish what we think. That's just something that we should get used to every time we see liberals. I mean, yes, there's no perfect bill. Usually that's the case. But they always say, we want this, but this is just not it. Can you follow that logic?
No, and I have to listen to it all the time. And sometimes it's so repulsive, we just walk off the floor because it's ridiculous. And I just had a bill recently vetoed that called for accountancy of how many dollars illegal aliens are costing Arizonans in hospitals. An optional checkoff box to say whether or not you're a citizen. You don't have to answer it. And if you do and you are illegal, ICE is not going to show up at your doorstep, but we want to know what the impact is. And that went all the way to the governor's desk. In fact, in one day, she vetoed 7 of Wendy Rogers' bills out of 35 in that just one day, which was about 3-4 weeks ago. It's unprecedented. This is why we need U.S. Congressman Andy Biggs to replace her. He is running to replace her. Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness. And yeah, we've had Andy on the show, and hallelujah. We could have had Carrie Lake in there. Of course, we know what's going on. Again, this is troubling at a deep level. You served in the U.S. military. What are members of the Department of Defense saying to you about this? And to me, it's like, how are they allowing this to happen?
Well, again, this is a state thing, and we have subject matter experts who come in from all over the country to help us with legislation. And I guess, in a way, the question is that I always get from my constituents, and keep in mind I represent a rural district from essentially Flagstaff all the way down to northern Tucson. It cuts across 4 counties of the state. And, my constituents want me to run bills that are common sense and that protect us, even though we feel that she will veto these bills. We want her on record. And this is one of the most egregious vetoes that she has perpetrated on us. And as there are 3 branches of government, it's arguably a fact that the legislative branch is the strongest because we are so many cats that need to be herded and corralled. But when we are together, we are a very potent force. And so as such, it's vital that we run good, cogent, common sense pieces of legislation to keep her held to account.
Hallelujah. One of our guests, Linda, in our chat says, man, we need you in New York, not Arizona. We need this senator here in New York, not Arizona.
Can you be everywhere, please?
Yeah. I know you're in Alaska right now at an event, so you're
yes,
doing what you can.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I'm in my hotel room. I got the lighting as well as I could. It's pretty overcast here. I'm not used to that in Arizona. But I'm at an elections get-together of various state legislators from around the country. And it's probably safe to say I'm one of the more conservative people here, but you can't be afraid to speak up. And I still run all kinds of legislation to do with the Second Amendment, supporting our veterans. I get actually some passed. Hobbs signed 3 sort of esoteric, smaller bills of mine. But when you represent, especially a rural district, people are really plugged in. And they let me know what is expected of me when I go down to Phoenix to represent them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Senator Wendy Rogers, thank you for fighting the good fight and common sense. We really appreciate you standing up for common sense in the state of Arizona. We need more people like you, and we'll watch very closely. I'm sure nothing will come of this, right? And then 4 years, 5 years from now, when we have some major incident, we'll be able to say, well, we told you so. We tried to stop this from happening. And that's exactly what you've been trying to do.
I'm a little more optimistic. If we get Biggs in there in first of all,
yeah, you're right.
This vote to override a veto is a pretty big deal. I can't. There was one time when we did this before. I'm in my 5th out of 8 years. We have term limits, and we did this on another bill. It didn't pass, but sometimes Democrats can wake up and smell the coffee and understand what's really going on. But also, I'm confident that we'll get bigs in, and I'm confident that Arizonans will have the common sense to do what's right. It's my job to keep pressing on that. If you want to follow me, my website is my name, wendyrogers.org, wendyrogers.org. And I'm fairly active on X, Wendy Rogers AZ. I have over 400,000 followers, so I'm not afraid to keep people posted on really the pointy tip of the sword, which is Arizona.
Love it.
Yeah.
Follow Wendy on X. Thank you for what you're doing, and I like your optimism. I hope you guys can get this veto overturned and put some common sense legislation into place. Senator, great to see you. Thank you so much. Enjoy the trip up there in Alaska.
Thank you so much. God bless America.